And welcome back here to Radio Row, getting you ready for Super Bowl 44. Jeff Gordon, Jeff Fernetti on 590 The Fan, KFNS, and KFNS.com. And it's our pleasure to be joined once again by Conrad Dobler. Conrad, how are you, sir?
Well, I'm doing okay. I'm on the north side of the dirt, and I think that's probably pretty important. I just had my 9th knee replacement December 11th, and I'm getting around pretty good. They basically said that take care of this one because it's the last one we can do, and then it's bye-bye leg. They actually wanted to take the leg off this time, but I said, why don't we keep? I had 3 choices. They said we can fuse it, but you've lost so much bone that we've had to cut away because of the infections and stuff that your leg would be 6 inches shorter than the other leg. And I said, well, that's fine if I could walk with one leg on a curb and one leg on the asphalt. And I said, unfortunately, I stole all my platform shoes in the 70s, so I don't have those left anymore. They said the other thing is you can have the surgery and have the prosthetic put back in, but he said there's a good 35% chance the infection will come back. He said, I think your best option is, this is the doctor, he said, I think we should amputate it. I said, hey, wait a minute. I said, what about the 65% chance that the infection won't come back? So that's what I did, and I took that opportunity, and I'm kind of being very gentle with it right now because this is my last go-around.
Well, not being, this might be a dumb question, but is that what the problem has been? It's just been that the equipment wears out and you get infected, or what? Why 9?
I've snapped a couple of them, and then, of course, I had the infection, so they had to take one out and put one in, then the infection came back, they had to take it back out and put it back in, because when you get MRSA or you get an infection, when it gets onto hardware, you can take antibiotics, but it's not going to get rid of it on the hardware. That's one of the reasons. But I broke 4 or 5 of them. I mean, I've kept three of them. In fact, I want to be cremated, and I'm really concerned about what are they going to do with how heavy is the urn going to be with this metal? And then recently the doctor says, and they took a picture of my shoulder, they said, well, I have a big piece of bone floating around on my shoulder, and I'm having trouble sleeping. He says, well, we need to do surgery on that. I said, just cool your jets here for a second, doc. I mean, let me recover from the knee surgery before you start taking apart my shoulder. And of course, he said, well, the bone chip is too big to take out with the orthoscopic surgery. I said, well, why doesn't that surprise me that you got? And since we opened it up, we just may as well replace it. Hey, listen, what do you need, a new car or something?
Yeah. Well, I mean, and on this injury front, this brings us to the topic that we discussed with you and a lot of the gridiron greats is just the NFL and their handling or lack thereof with a lot of the great NFL players that, you've tried multiple times for disability, turned down repeatedly, and this ongoing argument. And I know recently Drew Brees had some comments that spoke out against the retired players. And for us, the bystanders, it's surprising that in this day and age with the most popular game in this grand stage that there's not enough to go around for the players that were injured.
Well, baseball's able to do it, take care of their players, and they make half the revenue. Played 100 more games than the NFL, and their salary is twice as much. Their average salary is twice as much. So if they're able to do it, why can't the NFL do it? I mean, come on, just do the math and you can figure it out. Now, what the current players don't know, and what I'm trying to do, and what the gridiron greats are trying to do, we're trying to illuminate, not eliminate, but illuminate the knowledge of the current players. They live in an isolated world, and it's the me generation, but we want them to understand that whether it be 2 years, whether it be 3 years, whether it be 5 years, whether it be 10 years, you will be us. And any gains we can make, any improvements we can make with the disability plan will benefit you down the road in the future. But when you're making $1 million or $5 million or $500,000 or $900,000 a year, you think the world's going to take care of itself. Well, money runs out. It's like Mick Jagger once said when he filed for bankruptcy. They said, how can you file for bankruptcy? He said, you made $35 million last year. He said, well, it comes and it goes.
But you didn't like what Drew Brees had to say.
No. Drew Brees, as far as I'm concerned, the one thing that is held common throughout the playoffs, this year especially, is that each team that made the playoffs had quality quarterbacks. And the top quarterbacks in the NFL basically made it to the Super Bowl. Drew Brees is one hell of a quarterback. Peyton Manning's a hell of a quarterback. It's going to be a great game. It's going to be an exciting game. I believe it's going to be a high-scoring game. That being said, I have nothing against his ability as an athlete, such as I could care less about, Tiger Woods' morals. That doesn't make him any less a great golfer, okay? But When you're a leader and you're part of the NFL and you're part of, we're supposed to be brothers in arms, you never leave a man behind. And to make a comment, a flippant comment like that we made bad investments, well, back when I played, if we lost $5,000, it changed our lifestyle. They could lose $2 million. It wouldn't affect their lifestyle at all, Drew Brees' lifestyle. So what do you mean we made bad investments? That we didn't want to work, basically calling us lazy, that we didn't want to work? It's disgusting for me to hear someone say something of that nature. Doesn't he realize that if he wasn't playing in the NFL, he'd probably be working at a car wash right now?